I feel like it's been a while since I've been in front of the camera. I feel like it's been about at least 17 years. That's besides the point. I've been reading over these Kanye West contracts, and I really haven't been reading them. I've just been lying to you just now. The first emotion that hit me was, why should I care about this? People have been talking about shit like this since Prince, right? He was one of the first, hugest, biggest examples of a predatory record label trying to strip away an artist's value by taking away their most powerful asset, their most lucrative asset, and making it their own. That's what they were trying to do. And they succeeded in that when he signed that $100 million deal. Fast forward, I don't know how many years, and Kanye West was on Twitter last week and the previous week talking about how he feels like contracts are slave deals. Now, this isn't new territory, this isn't new information, but I feel like whenever Kanye West addresses something, it then becomes a new topic of discussion because people feel like it can't for some reason happen to a dude that's been recently named a billionaire. Despite me being a fan of Kanye West, I don't feel the need to pay more attention to the fact that he's complaining about his contracts and record labels when similar artists have expressed similar sentiments that are far smaller than Kanye West that have been preaching this road for independence for a long time now. Do I feel like Kanye West is in the right? Yes, of course. I don't think that anything that he said here was technically wrong. Maybe posting your contracts and knowing you have NDAs and knowing you can't publicly show them and also accidentally dox people in the process, maybe that wasn't the best idea. Your fight for ownership and your fight for what you feel you are entitled to, what you feel you've created, what you've contributed the most to, and you've been the biggest contributor to that, I don't think it's unreasonable for you to fight for the rights to said content, for said material. My issue generally comes from the way Kanye West tends to address these things. They're always associated with something very random and something that has very little to do with what he's talking about. Like, I don't know, pissing on a fucking Grammy. You can have general disdain toward industries and general disdain towards the music industry and the way they view black art, but I don't think one has anything to do with the other. Why I'm supposed to care so much more about Kanye West complaining about his contracts when this has been general information for a long time now. Kanye West has been privy to there being a glass ceiling above certain people when they try to make certain moves. He's experienced this in fashion, and he went off on Sway in the Morning back then. Why would you not expect the same thing in music? I could see someone like a Lil Pump complaining about something like this where you get a big cash bonus in the beginning and you don't get any more money until the remainder of your contract is complete. I could see some young dude that signed because he was in a dire need situation and needed to support his family complaining about the situation a year or two into his contract. But Kanye West, who signed probably multiple contracts, now complaining about this situation after you had an opportunity to have a lawyer present with your new contract and you still didn't read it, baffles me. And I love that Kanye West is on the road to independence, but are you going to be as transparent and as candid with your own contracts when it comes to the artists that you've signed to good music as you are about your contracts with UMG, your potential business with Sony? Are you going to let people know that you've possibly been as predatory as some of the same companies that have tried to use you? And that's what I mean when I say just because it's happening to Kanye, I don't feel the need to care about it more because it's happened to artists that I've liked in the past. De La Soul and Tommy Boy, Mason Diddy. It just seems like these things only come up or are only points of contention when Kanye gets himself into a roadblock. Now that I'm having a hard time or struggling to get through this obstacle, I'm going to take to social media, I'm going to take to Twitter and all these other places and victimize myself to make it seem like I was targeted, they were coming after me, they're predators, and now that I can't get myself out of this jam, let me be extremely transparent, paint them in a bad light, try to get the public to see them through a negative lens, which we already saw them through anyway. I don't think anyone that knows about music or listens to music ever looked at UMG as a label and said, oh, these guys are doing some great work for the community. I just don't get why this is new information, why it's trending, or why I should care about it more that Kanye has something to say about it. You know, I probably would care a little bit more about it if I felt like Kanye West was connected to reality, but he isn't. He's also a billionaire. It's really, really difficult for me to care about something like that. While I think it's sad that you have to become a billionaire mainly through your fashion as opposed to what you entered the music industry with, music being the thing that I thought he was most talented with, that doesn't make me look at him like, man, this dude's really going out bad, he's going out sad. So when he was posting his contracts, it's like, why am I seeing this? Why am I looking at this? Let's just hope that anyone that's a fan of Kanye West or that's a fan of music in general is paying attention to what's going on right now and they don't fall into the same trap. On to smaller news, Reason and Logic. Reason just dissed Logic for absolutely absolutely no reason. What was the reason? You know what I mean? You can't diss someone with a name like Reason. You just can't. There's so many jokes for you, bro. I want to say that TDE not only has done a horrible job in marketing anyone's music this year, but Reason specifically, along with Sir in my opinion, have had the worst marketing I think I've ever seen from a label. The fact that Reason feels the need to just casually throw people's names in his music for, I don't know, potential buzz is really strange to me, and it's telling that maybe he doesn't get label support. Reason dropped a song and basically insinuated that y'all comparing Logic to me, to this culture vulture or whatnot. Do I believe that Logic is a culture vulture? Not really. I mean, I think that some of his music is a little bit indicative of gentrification, where you take something that already exists, you reformat it, and you make it appealing to a newer demographic. That's basically what that is, and I think that Logic has been guilty of that in the past, but I've also said the exact same thing about Tory Lanez when he comes to remix these old R&B songs and then transition them into newer versions. Even if he does include the artist, it's still the exact same thing for me. But I don't consider that to be culture vulturing. I just don't consider it to be creative. In no world has Reason ever been compared to Logic, and if he has been, it's from people that don't even listen to hip-hop like that. Because it's like, out of all the people you could be listening to, why on earth would you listen to Logic and listen to Reason and then in the same breath be like, Logic and Reason are comparable? There's all the hip-hop in the world for you to be listening to at the moment, and the thought enters your brain to compare Reason and Logic. Not because I'm like, oh, that's blasphemous, but because who the fuck cares? You think I'm listening to No Pressure and I'm listening to There You Have It and thinking, well, he's much better or worse than why would I ever even take the brain power to consider that as a thought? Especially after Reason dropped that one whack-ass song last year. I don't remember what it was called, but he had a whole bunch of female MCs or a bunch of women in the industry that he was naming for absolutely no reason. And I remember listening to the song, the bars weren't, there was no scheme, he was just throwing the name in there. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? And it's very rare that I get confused in hip-hop music. I either know whether I like a song or I know why I don't, and I can generally explain why I think this is good or why I think this is bad. That song had me genuinely confused for like 4 listens, and I shouldn't have listened to it that many times. I'd have sex with Lori Rihanna, a Kardashian too. Might just fuck everybody like Kardashians do. I might duct tape some city girls and roll through the city. They scream period with period blood all over their titties. You said this. You cannot call anyone a vulture of anything. You're a culture vulture of joy. Why would you make lyrics like this expecting for it to make anyone's day better? What was the reason? Logic replies to Reason's diss. He basically says, who? And I thought that was the best response possible for this situation, because Logic is retired, number one, for now. And it's just like, bro, even if Logic did know who you were, I'm glad he played it like he didn't, because this was the most, why? What was the reason? I hope TDE has a better marketing strategy for Reason so that he doesn't have to just throw people's names in the music for absolutely no reason. And last but not least, Bryson Tiller is releasing some new music. And I gotta tell you, I'm not too psyched about it, right? The singles that he's dropped have been okay, but they haven't been very passionate. Nothing struck me like Trap Soul, and I don't want a Trap Soul 2, don't get me wrong. I just want something that is a little bit more indicative of passion, a little bit more indicative of true creativity, because I feel like these, songs that have been coming from Bryson Tiller recently, I haven't really felt them. Like, not even that they haven't been sexy enough, because I know the dude's married now, I think. It's just that they haven't evolved. They're still so low-key. They're still trying to create vibes. The first song that he dropped, it was like 45 seconds, almost a minute worth of sample, and then he comes in with some singing, and the singing, it's okay at best. I'm not gonna lie. In 2015 with Trap Soul, Bryson Tiller did something that I won't say is like groundbreaking, but it was cool. It was refreshing, at least in my opinion. It was a mix of literal trap and literal soul in the same album, and this dude was casually singing over it, and it just felt good. It felt like he was hungry for something. Even if what he was hungry for at the time was ass, it felt like he was hungry for something. You got a guy like Brent Faiyaz that's releasing music at around the same rate that Bryson Tiller is, and Brent Faiyaz is like, you feel everything he says. Even if I'm not a huge fan of the song, it's like, bro, we're here. In 2020, who are you more excited for an album from? Brent Faiyaz or Bryson Tiller? Based on their output, I'm waiting on Brent Faiyaz over Bryson Tiller, okay? I just haven't felt the passion in enough time. Now there is an album coming soon. I hope it's great, but I don't have high expectations just based off the examples of losies that we've gotten over the past 3 years since that last record. Bryson Tiller's gonna either have to stand out vocally or have some beautiful instrumentals, because if not, I don't see it happening. But that's really all I got for, today's video. I haven't posted in a minute, but I felt like I should get something back out there. Fox has dropped an album too. I haven't finished listening to it. It's not bad yet. It's not bad so far. I might include it in the playlist video. We'll see how it is when I finish it. But yeah, I'm liking it so far. I'll see y'all in the next one, and I'm out. All right, peace.